So it happened. The moment we've been dreading. Your child came out of the exam hall and their face was gray. You knew as soon as you looked at them, they didn't feel like they did well. And the first words out of their mouth, I froze. I blanked. I flunked. I failed. What do we say when our child comes to us and says they've just failed the exam? Do we reassure them? Do we challenge it? Stay quiet, change the subject? Most of us have done at least one of those at a given time. And yet we spend the rest of the drive home wondering if we've actually made it worse by saying something. I'm Sarah Lynn, a teacher, cognitive behavior therapy practitioner, and I've sat with many families in this exact same scenario. It sucks. It's not a circumstance that I wish upon anyone, but if it's going to happen, knowing 3 things that you can do to help your child and the one thing that you should be avoiding to not make it worse, well, I hope that will help. So grab your coffee and let's get ready to make things a little bit easier for that drive home after your child says they've just failed the exam. Before I give you the 3 things that are going to make that drive easier, let's address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the one thing that I'm sure we're all guilty of doing and the thing that kind of makes it worse. Here is what not to say to your child that has just shared horrible news, even if it may not be grounded in fact. This is what we need to not do. Now, I'm saying this up front and I'm saying it with love and I'm saying it from experience. So don't do what I do. Instead, learn from my mistakes. Let's not respond to the child that says that they've just flunked the exam with, "Oh, I'm really sure you didn't. I'm sure you did great." Or, "Well, don't worry about it. There's always the next one." Sound familiar? Well, it does to me because I have tried every iteration of those 2 versions. Either the rah, rah, I'm your cheerleader and I know you did well, even if you don't think so. Or the, well, yeah, get them next time, Tiger. Let's just keep moving forward version that hopefully will not allow them to sink so deep in their hole. Originally, I thought that those were the only 2 options that we had, right? We only cheer them up or we don't let them sulk too much and we move them forward. But there's a 3rd option. When we're going to someone and we're incredibly vulnerable, what we're looking for is to feel seen and heard. What happens is we get one of 2 options. Option number 1 that says, "Oh my goodness, I'm sure you did great. Like, don't even worry about it. You revised so much. Like, I have full confidence." Automatically, I no longer feel seen because you're telling me that my experience is incorrect. On the other hand, if you go, "Well, there's nothing you can do about it, so let's just move forward." Well, hold on. I don't feel seen because I have these really big emotions and I don't feel like you're a safe place to share them anymore. So what happens as the person sharing, the child, is you learn to stop sharing your feelings because neither of the things that you're receiving allows you to feel safe sharing them. That is why those 2 options don't work. When your child enters the car or calls you on the phone or comes home and shares with you that they think they flunked the exam, they are not in a space to receive any kind of support except regulation. They have a brain that is catastrophizing, that is moving 1,000,000 miles an hour into a potential future that they've created for themselves. Their body is still inside the exam center on high alert and full of adrenaline. No matter what scenario or what word we have, it will not land because their brain and their body is not regulated enough to receive it. So that is the first thing that we do. That is step number 1. This podcast, the Mindful Toolbox podcast, has ample videos all about how we can support emotional regulation, because environmental social regulation is a powerful tool. I would definitely recommend heading over to episode 3 and episode 24 of this podcast if you're looking for more ways that you can support your child in regulating their emotions. But when they originally come to you, the very first thing that you can say when they're about to just drop their bag and they're so stressed because, oh my gosh, the reality for them is so real that they failed, the first thing that we do is we tell them, I've got you. We're okay. We can talk this through. We don't need to fix it yet. We don't need to problem solve. We don't even need the details. As hard as it is to not jump in and ask, did you blank? Why do you think you failed? We need to take control of the pace of that conversation. Their brain is going a million miles an hour. Our job is to help pace them back to steady. So we do that with one sentence. I've got you. We're okay. Once that I'm so sorry that you can probably hear the drain from my fireplace because it's absolutely pouring right now, but this is England and I'm not going to complain because my flowers are finally going to bloom, so apologies. Now, after your child becomes a little bit more regulated, they're going to have their signature next step. For some, it is going to be a vent. They're just going to want to talk it all out, and that is okay. Let them. Another way of dealing after we've regulated a little bit is they're going to want to go through the entire scenario because they're looking for validation. That's okay. Another option, especially for our anxious and neurodivergent children, their go-to is often to go internal, to go quiet, to withdraw. That feels uncomfortable when you're on the outside trying to support someone. But it is imperative that they feel safe to do that internal work and you're feeling empowered enough to hold that space for them. So that quiet, it's not wasted. It's actually their nervous system rebooting, reconnecting, recalibrating. It is so important. And this feels like it might take a really long time, but it usually lasts 2 to 3 minutes. That's it. It's just for them to hit you like a rock, and instead of it slamming in and then they feel broken because they don't feel connected to you anymore, it's like you absorb all of it and allow them to come to a steady, slower pace. And then when they're ready to pace themselves, then we can move on to step number 2. Step number 2, give the brain something different. Well, task number 2 or step number 2 in supporting your child if they've come out of an exam feeling like they failed is to give them space. Give their brain an opportunity to reintegrate into the world. As we've mentioned, they've just finished regulating, but they're still going to feel quite heightened. We need to give them something that will help soothe them. So, perhaps headphones in the garden, eating outside in the sun, a walk if they'll take it, a show that they are loving and they're rewatching, something small that is going to help their body feel calmer and more coherent. We need to give them the opportunity to disconnect from that exam room. So we give the brain something different. This is not a debrief. And this is not a, let's look at what's coming next. It is something that they enjoy, something that will soothe their soul. I know it sounds a little out there, but think about it. After a really hard day, what is it that you want to do? Unplug, do something that's calming. That's exactly what their brain needs as well. And the important part is that we don't look at this as a reward. So a lot of families will approach exams as, if you do well, we'll take you out for dinner. Or if you do well, you'll get X. And I have no comment in that approach. However, this immediately after exams, when I'm highly dysregulated because I feel like I've failed, that activity that comes right after that I love, that's gonna make me feel comfortable and safe again, that's not optional. That's not a reward. It's not a treat. It is there to reconnect my brain so that I become regulated enough, and then I can use that regulated brain to revise later. And I've seen parents feel guilty about this. If I don't push them straight into preparing for the next one, then maybe they will actually fail the next one. If they're worried that they're not doing well, then maybe we need to amp up the revision in between exams to ensure that this conversation doesn't happen again. And I get that. But do you notice that's coming from fear? What we need to do instead is hold the fort. You're going to hold the door. You are going to allow them the time, 30 minutes, to just indulge in something that makes them feel good. And then we're going to move to step 3. But we can only move to step 3 when their brain is regulated. Because a dysregulated brain revising for 2 hours will not remember anything. Head over to our episode that shares how anxious brains turn off memory, if you're wondering what I mean. A regulated brain with a 20-minute revision is going to do so much better and retain it a lot better. So once you've helped them slow that train by regulating them, then they've been given space and time to just indulge in something that they love. Okay, step number 3. I know you're curious about this one because this one is the action approach. This is the one that is going to allow us to shift from victim and failure mode and stress and catastrophizing and anxiety and worry and shutdown to I'm regulated, I can think logically, I can approach things with a little bit more focus. We're not shifting 180 to positivity and amped up excitement for the next exam. We're just shifting gears to something a little bit more steady. Now, how do we do that? Well, there are 3 questions. So if you have a pen and paper, great, write these down. If not, in your phone notes app, make sure it's accessible so you can grab these 3 questions at any moment. 3 questions. Number 1, what's one thing that you did well in there? Sarah Lynn, they said they failed. They're not going to think they did anything well. I hear you, but we need to start helping them scan for the small things that they did by helping our brain refocus on positivity, just like if you do with a gratitude practice. It helps the activating system, the reticular activating system, to start scanning for opportunity. So if the best thing that they've got is to say that they wrote their name properly, perfect. That's okay. We're just looking for one thing that they think they did well. Even if it's small, even if it just means that they showed up. Question number 2. Is there one thing that you would do differently next time? Whether it's in the exam or approaching for the exam. Sarah Lynn, they would do everything differently because they have failed and they're frustrated. However, by allowing them to think about what they could do differently next time allows them to feel in control again. Remember, an anxious brain is looking for control. It doesn't feel like it has any. And therefore, by reconnecting them back to the fact that they have the ability to learn from a mistake, even if they failed, we can't change that, but we can learn and grow from it. So, is it more revision time? Is it more revision on topics they didn't know instead of the ones that they did? Is it breathing exercises and knowing how to overcome performance anxiety? Is it spacing out their revision so there's more, so it wasn't so heavily weighted on one specific subject but shared across multiple? There's so many things that we could do to approach this differently. Their job is just to think out loud. And question number 3 is, what is the next thing that we are going to focus on doing now? That question, that's the bridge. That's the launch pad. That is how we go, okay, we know we didn't do our best. That's okay. We won't always be able to. We can see how we might do things differently. Perfect. That is more important than any grade you'll get in an exam. Ownership, responsibility. Now, we take that and we go apply it. But you're not doing it alone. I'm here if you want me. I'm here to help. And in one of our episodes, we share how you can support your teen without taking on a tutor or teacher role. Things like buddying or giving them external memory aids. You can go check that video because it'll be very helpful. It'll be very helpful if you feel like you want to help but you don't know how. But Sarah Lynn, my child is stubborn. My child's a 16-year-old boy. They're not going to engage in these questions with me. Okay, it's possible that they won't. So what do? Well, these questions are still important. So if they won't engage with you about them, that's all right. You can say something along the lines of, we don't have to do this now. But when you're ready, these are the 3 things that I'd like for us to think about together. By doing that, you're planting the structure. You're setting the clear boundary. These are things that we're going to have to discuss because they're going to help you move from the headspace that you're in to not having to feel this again because we're going to do things different. It doesn't have to happen in one go. If they're not able to answer all 3 questions and they shut down after the first, that's okay. This is going to be new to them, just like it's new to you. So they probably will shut down. And they probably won't want to continue this conversation. It's difficult to see what you did, to be vulnerable enough to take accountability for what you did. But remember, we're not just supporting your child in academics. You want something more for your child. You want them to feel prepared for the world beyond that classroom. And if they are failing exams and really devastated by that failure, that is a glimpse of the growth journey that happens in adult life. And we need to give them the tools to help them recalibrate, build the resilience so that they can move forward. And these 3 steps, giving them the ability to regulate, giving them space for their brain to just become more coherent, and then helping them to take accountability to move forward, those 3 steps will empower them for not just the next exam, but for beyond as well. And I know you want that for your child. That's why we're here. Still with me? Good. I knew you would be, because this week we have our Toolbox challenge. And the Toolbox challenge is really easy because you're going through a lot this week. All I'd like for you to do is write down our 3 questions in a space that will be accessible to you. Because the truth about the questions is we don't need to be in a dysregulated, traumatic, hard day to use them. You can use these whenever we're trying to build a growth mindset and resilience, anytime there's a little bit of an obstacle. So keep them handy, make sure they're available, and keep using them. They're going to shut down the first time you bring them up. That's okay. But the more consistent you are with them, the more they'll get used to it, and the more they'll see the benefit of using them as well. If you're in the thick of exam season right now, I have something that will hopefully help even more. I've created a toolkit for neurodivergent learners, and it's through the lens of exam season because there's so many different things that we need to talk about in order to help the child and the family. So I've condensed everything that I've been sharing and more into an actionable guide that will help the entire family see the benefit and the results of working through exam season together. If that's useful for you, then I have the waitlist in the show notes down below, and I'd love to see what your thoughts are. And if this episode has helped, then share it with someone inside that WhatsApp group. I have no doubt that someone in your community is faced with a child that is melting down because they don't feel like their exam went as well as it could have, and they have no idea what to say to them. So be a good friend and send it to them. And for you, if you are looking for something that goes a little bit deeper as to what actually happens in your child's brain when they're in an exam scenario, then episode 24 is highly recommended. It's all about working memory and, importantly, how anxiety impacts it. All right, if this is a big season for your child, it is no doubt a big season for the entire family. So take a deep breath. You're all doing great. And I'll see you in 2 weeks' time